Good morning. It is Thursday, and I have Daniel and Rachel Martin here, some local from Tillamook County, but live in Mexico. They are the what? How do you call yourself of the ministry?
Well,
are you the founders of the ministry?
Okay.
They founded Morning by Morning Ministries in 2014.
Yeah.
13, 14.
It's been 6 years. So
yeah, and they currently live in Mexico, and they're here. They're from here. We're going to talk about their background, but they're here visiting and going to tell us a little bit about what they do and who they are and all those kinds of fun things. So let's talk about your background. Who would like to start?
Rachel, why don't you go?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in Tillamook.
You are
County.
a coon.
I am a coon. My maiden name is Coon. My dad owns a little gun shop next to
the creamery.
Richard's Gun Shop. And I was born here at the Tillamook Hospital and went to Tillamook High School and all through school here. And then eventually I purchased the Oregon Coast Dance Center, and I ran that for quite a few years until, of course, selling to you, Lisa.
Yes. And you sold it to me because you moved to Mexico.
That's
it's
right.
always funny because when people ask me, like when I took over the studio, and I tell them, and then they say, well, where's Rachel? And I said, oh, she moved to Mexico to be a missionary. And I'm like, and they're like, what? Like, that's such a 180 degree change there. We'll talk about why you guys decided to be missionaries in a second. But Dan, can you give us your background?
Short biography, so I don't, radio.
It was really funny because this morning I thought, well, I hope they come with a list of things to talk about. And then I was like, wait, Dan's coming. It'll be fine. He likes to talk.
On the fly. Well, I'll keep it short, but I was...
No, you're fine.
I was born...
I'll cut you off if I need to.
Washington. I grew up in a small town in California for 8 years of my life. My dad was a pastor for my whole life. Had a lot of questions about Christianity, but I made my commitment to Jesus.
Can you get a little bit closer to your mic? Sorry. Or you can pull it closer to you.
Pull it closer. A lot of questions and things growing up, because if your dad's a pastor, it's just the life you grow up with. But
right.
I really kind of made Christianity my own faith, and I came to Idaho, and then from Idaho to Oregon, and we lived in Manzanita, just up the road, for about 15 or 16 years. And I went to missionary school, and after missionary school, I met this lovely lady, and she was gung-ho on being a missionary, and I wasn't sure. And so that's how it worked. And,
but you went to missionary school, but you weren't sure if you wanted to be a missionary.
Yep, weird story for another time. So if any of you have questions out there, you can come find me. We can hunt me down. We'll have that conversation.
And yes, why missionaries? What drew you to that field?
Well, we felt like we wanted to do more for God, and also I had all the schooling. So there's two things. Mm-hmm. We weren't feeling content where we were. We knew God had us moving somewhere to do something a little bit bigger. We wanted to be more involved in our community, and it was just like a couple of years where we didn't have the opportunities we were looking for. We wanted to be able to use our skill set with people who had needs. We had skills and we were using them, but we just wanted to be able to help more and
be more fulfilled using it.
Mm-hmm. Using those things, and we also had a bunch of health problems and not a lot of time. I was working a full-time job, and Rachel was running the studio full-time, and our health was fluctuating at the time, and we just had a baby. So it was all those things added together, and we saw God moving us towards Mexico and this great opportunity that was waiting for us there.
So let's talk about why you chose Mexico, because I think oftentimes we hear about missionaries in Uganda or somewhere overseas in a low poverty third world country, which we have a low poverty third world country that is attached to us as part of the Americas. So why Mexico?
Well, we went down to Mexico. I visited a friend down there a couple of times who lived down there. And right after we got married, we went down there for a month and did a mission trip. I'd never been on a mission trip. And of course, I was married to somebody who went to missionary school.
And what does a mission trip mean versus like a vacation trip?
Yeah.
Can you move that mic so that's pointing right at your mouth?
Okay.
There you go.
So a mission trip is your main focus, your main goal is obviously to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ, to tell people about salvation and that type of thing, but also to help the people that you're going to see. So we went down there with the idea that we would spend time at the orphanage that was actually just a couple miles down the road from, maybe not even 2 miles, maybe like 1.5 miles down the road from where we were staying. And we spent a month walking back and forth to the orphanage, and we spent pretty much all that time in the baby room, like just holding babies. A lot of times in orphanages, kids don't get held enough.
Well, and let's talk about the orphanage, because the orphanages in Mexico are way different than the orphanages here in the States.
Yeah. It's sort of Mexico's foster care system. They don't really have a foster care system. So if for some reason, you know, a child needs to go into what we would call foster care, they just go right into the orphanage. And in Mexico, there's actually very few orphans. They're taken
what we would
orphans,
consider an orphan,
like,
where they don't have parents.
Right.
Yeah.
They usually have at least one parent and probably family, but that family can't take care of them because it tends to be a more poverty stricken country. And so people can't always take care of their children. And so Child Protective Services will come and take them and then assign them to a specific orphanage.
Right. So unlike the foster care system, there isn't another family that then comes and takes them and has them live. They just live in these facilities with other children. And did I remember correctly, or do I remember correctly, like that some families will just give up a child because they can't care for them anymore?
Right. Exactly. Some people will just drop their children off in an orphanage, and one of the ones we will work with quite frequently, they'll make them sign a paper that says, you know, you can't come back. But the orphanages really don't have any rights. So if a parent wants to come back and get them, they can. But that's where one of the organizations we work with a couple of free daycares, and that's where the free daycares come in. They'll take children whose parents can't afford to keep them during the day, so the parents can work.
Co-work, right.
Yeah, so there's, in our area, there's a couple of different free daycares, which is just a super cool, they're both super cool programs. And it's nice to see other missionaries kind of stepping in to fill that gap so the orphanages don't have to be quite so full to capacity, which most of them are.
Yeah. So you guys were down in Mexico for a month. And on a mission trip.
Right.
And when you left, said, this is what we have been called to do. This is what we want to do.
Not quite, because at that time we were just married and I was still really enjoying, you know, running the studio. And we kind of came back to Oregon and thought, well, we'll maybe do that again sometime, or like maybe we'll do short-term missions. But we fell in love with the area, specifically.
Which we should talk about. It's not Tijuana. It's how far south? How far? Like an hour?
About an hour south.
Yeah. So you're in La Mission.
We're in a little
on the
town called
Baja
La Mission.
Peninsula, right
on the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just it was on our radar, but when we started, after I had Archie and my health was getting bad, and we'd started kind of talking about what came next, Mexico kept coming up, and we kept kind of talking about it and then tabling it and talking about it and tabling it. And then finally, you know, about 6 months before we left, a lot of missionaries will spend years raising support. About 6 months before we left, we started Morning by Morning Ministries. And then 6 months later, we left for Mexico. We just fell in love with the people there, and we saw so much need, and we had people encouraging us, just come. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. You're probably not going to do what you think you are anyways. Just come. Don't worry about raising support. God's going to supply your needs. And so we took that advice and we just came and found work to do as we went along.
So you've lived there 5.5 years. 5.5 years. Yep. Wow. Yeah, it's been that long.
It's so
I
fast.
know.
Well, you guys come. I see you at least once a year, so maybe that's why it doesn't feel like it's been that long. Yeah. But yeah, that's crazy. I have to take a quick break. I'm going to talk about TBCC. If one of your goals this year includes going back to school to finish or start your degree, then Tillamook Bay Community College is here to help you. Whether you need to earn your GED, get started on a bachelor's degree, master a few new skills, or need to learn English as a second language, TBCC can help get you started. All it takes is logging on to tillamookbaycc.edu to learn about the many degree options, certifications, and trainings they have to offer. Fall registration starts August 20th, and there's really no better time to get started and no better way to help yourself this year than with an education from TBCC. Log on to tillamookbaycc.edu or stop by the main campus on 3rd Street to have all your questions answered. And remember, August 20th, they're having a cool little presentation of all of their different degree programs. It's amazing. They were in yesterday talking about it. Have you looked at their catalog?
I have not.
We
Not
love
this year.
them though. I went to TBCC for a short time.
Okay. From when you went to,
Yeah.
it's such a different school. I mean, it's amazing. They have online education resources where you don't have to buy a textbook for your classes.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
they
awesome.
offer,
That is
if
really
they
cool.
have degree paths, like if you want to complete this degree in 2 years, these are the classes you need to take. And they guarantee that those classes will be held even if you're the only one in it.
That is
Isn't that
awesome.
amazing? I know.
Yes.
They're great. tillamookbaycc.edu. Go check them out. I'm talking with Daniel and Rachel Martin this morning from Morning by Morning Ministries. That's a lot of mornings.
Yes,
That was actually a lot of M words
We
too.
want to put a lot of M.
Martin
M in
Morning
there,
by
so,
Morning
yeah.
Ministries.
Rolls off the tongue.
Why the name Morning by Morning?
There's a song. We both knew that we kind of wanted to be doing something in the arts because Dan's a guitarist and I'm a dance teacher. And there's a song that's a verse in the song. Is it great as thy
Is it a
faithfulness?
hymn?
Yeah, it's a hymn.
Yeah.
It's great as thy faithfulness. And a line in the song is morning by morning, new mercies I see. And we were sort of like, well, we know we want to work in arts. And so this song really makes sense. But we also were like, every morning's kind of different. That's one of our
Sure.
little sort of inside jokes is every morning it might be different. Like we have a set schedule of things we do, but sometimes we get up in the morning and God's asking us to do something different. And so
Sure.
we wanted to be able to just kind of have the statement of we're free to do kind of where God leads us and that his mercies are new and present every day.
So let's talk about what you do as part of your missionary work, your ministry.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yes.
I'm
Take it
stealing this
away.
mic. We do, like Rachel was talking about, we work with the arts. So Rachel teaches dance and I teach guitar, and we go to a lot of those free daycares and orphanages and visit, as well as teach their kids those skills, because they don't always have those opportunities to learn
Sure.
them elsewhere, and they can get them from us for free. So that's one of our
Well, and
great
it's
joys.
I feel like the arts are a universally, like it crosses language, it crosses culture, it crosses a lot of, and it's a unifying thing. I don't.
Yeah,
that's not
it
the right
is.
word, but it's a unifying thing that everyone can understand, and it connects people.
Yeah.
The arts connect people. So music connects people, dance connects people.
It really gives us an inroad to a lot of times people in Mexico, people everywhere, but people in Mexico really love their children. Their children are incredibly important to them. And so sometimes we work in very poverty stricken areas, and there's places where we go where people will allow their kids to come take dance and allow their wives to take children out, or allow, to do things with us that they might not normally get to do. So it really gives us an in to be able to speak to people and help people in a way that we might not be able to if we just walked up and said, hey, we're missionaries. Do you want to hear
Right.
about Jesus? Or, hey, we're missionaries.
Right. Sure.
Can we help you?
That can be a little off-putting.
Yeah, in some ways. So it really puts us in a unique position to befriend people and to be a part of their lives.
Plus, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of times, a lot of those kids can't afford the classes in their area, and we have those expertise, and we can just bring them, and
Well, and it's a very music and dance bring people joy as well.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And those kids sometimes don't have very many joyous
Yeah.
things in their lives.
yeah, or just in Baja, something you see a lot is it's not like the States where you have so many opportunities. You have a few, but you don't have hordes and hordes of things at your hands. all
Right.
the
You don't have
time.
a lot of selection of
Yeah.
things.
So,
Yeah. As part of your ministry, are you still doing kind of street outreach?
Oh yeah, I still do street.
And I want you to explain what you do
Okay.
because,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to talk about something.
Yeah,
Because we have a very different experience here. I kind of want you
I've
to
seen the
maybe
experience.
touch on that a little bit.
I'll talk about that. I'm an evangelist, but you have to keep out of your mind somebody with a billboard sign or somebody with a megaphone and things like that.
Because that's what we get. We've had a couple of those here. Yeah.
And I feel like it's a misnomer. I think just for you Christians and non-Christians out there listening, I just want you to know I share what I believe because I really believe it. I don't really have an agenda. I want everybody to know Jesus because that's what I believe about the Bible, that God loves people, and that's what I'm sharing, and that people are under God's wrath and God wants to save them. But I feel like that's such an abrasive message. There's no need to be more abrasive with it. So I'm trying to win you. I'm trying to win you over.
Right. And screaming in your face
it's not
a great idea.
So we'll go out and Dan will bring his guitar, and he also carries bags on him with necessities in it for maybe people we come across that are living on the streets, like a bag with like some food and toiletries and stuff, like toothbrush and stuff like that. And so Dan will go out and he'll just sit down and play his guitar. And then people will come up and listen, and then somebody will eventually sit down and he'll just have a conversation with them. And in that conversation, he, tells them about Jesus. It's very casual, very calm, very friendly, very open, and just engaging people about the gospel.
I have to be honest, it's not like I have all of life figured out either, but I also don't have to hide behind my belief system. The reason I share is because I believe it's true. And, people are entitled to believe what they believe. And if you have questions, you can always talk to me because I really have an opinion, but I'm not going to bludgeon people with my opinion.
Right.
So,
I do want to mention we still have some time, but before we run out of time, and ways to contact you, because you're on social media, you have a website, and you're also doing some church visits in the coming weeks.
This Sunday, we're going to be speaking at Blaine Community Church at their morning service. They have 2 services, so I believe it's the 10 o'clock service. And then the following Sunday, we'll be speaking at First Christian Church, and I am not sure what time. I have not yet looked on their website to see what time their church service is, so we'll be speaking there.
I can look.
Oh, thanks. We also have a website, and that was one of the things I was going to mention. We were talking about the arts. We have a whole page devoted on our website to what the arts can do. In the way of, and I don't have to tell you, Lisa, like all the different things that arts can do in the way of education and just a myriad of different things. I just read an article this morning about an arts organization that helps kids deal with trauma. That's one of the things that we'd like to talk about if we have time. So on our website, there's there's a page dedicated to that. We are also on Facebook and Instagram. We have a YouTube page where we put up some of our dances and guitar programs from the past few years. And we're also a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. So we raise support. That's one of the reasons we come home every 2 years, to raise support so that we can stay there. And God has been successful so far in, moving people to donate. So everything's tax deductible is the point for donating. And there's buttons on our Facebook page and our website and all that kind of stuff.
I looked up First Christian. It says that worship celebration starts at 9:15.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's what the church service is. So.
I think so.
Yeah,
that sound about right?
Make sense.
I think that's what it is.
Okay. Did you say your website? Sorry, I was looking up, so I was half listening.
It's www.morningbyMorningMinistries.com. And Morning by Morning Ministries is on everything, on our Facebook page, Instagram. Yeah. Our email is morningbyMorningMinistries@gmail. So all of our stuff is just one word.
If you find the seagull flying by the sun and the reeds, that's the right one.
Yes, right.
I think there's another one out there that's not us, but ours is probably more prominent.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you work with are there other ministries and missionaries down in Mexico that you work with?
Yeah, there's actually in our area, there's quite a few different ministries. So there's, like I mentioned, 2 free daycares where they take kids so that, parents don't have to take their kids to an orphanage. We work with a couple orphanages. We work closely with our church. I teach dance in the church and charge 10 pesos, which is about 50 cents for classes. And then the money goes to the church, which then takes that money down to Sinaloa, which is a place, southern Mexico, very cartel heavy area. And so our church Dan goes on that mission trip with our church every year. And then one thing that we're super passionate about that is we work with 2 organizations that are involved in the fight against human trafficking. So one of the places is actually an orphanage. The children are all removed from their homes by Child Protective Services, and they have all been trafficked. And so we get to go in weekly, and it's kind of fun because we just get to be the fun. Like we get to go in and just have a great time.
You're the bright spot in the day.
We are, because they're on campus all the time. And when I say campus, it's just a big house. And a lot of times they're still being searched for by the people that sold them. And so there's a guard there all the time, and they're sort of locked in for their own protection. And so we get to come in and kind of bring the fun. And then they actually just opened up a boys' home, and it's sort of a misnomer that it's just girls or women that are being trafficked. So they just opened up a boys' home, and Dan goes to Tijuana once a week and spends the day at the boys' home, and just,
which I love. They're so much fun. Those boys are so much fun. We all have fun together. We play. I bring my old school Nintendo, and we hook that up, and it's always a good time when I can get it to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about human trafficking, because we actually had. Was it OSP? It was either the sheriff's office or OSP, or no, it might have been David Yamamoto. Somebody came in recently in the last 6 months, and we talked about that. Yeah. There's been a couple presentations here about human trafficking. And it's kind of becoming more on, more,
on people's
higher
radar.
Up on the radar.
Yeah,
because even though we are a small, sleepy little town, we have so many visitors that come in during the summertime. Yeah. And, these are the kind of areas that traffickers do prey on, because we are so small and sleepy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Tijuana, where we do the most of our work, is sort of a trifecta, for lack of a better word. They people are removed from and trafficked to other locations. It is a stop off, so people are trafficked through, and then it's a tourist destination, which is a horrible thing to say, but it's a tourist destination for people that are looking for, children, essentially.
And what are they trafficking them for?
Sex.
Oh,
mostly.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can Google this, and there's lots of stuff out there about it. And the awareness is high in the Tijuana area, but as far as we know, we're working with the only 2 organizations that are doing anything about it. It's not like the States where you can suspect somebody is being trafficked and just pick up the phone and call the police.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. And so the other ministry that we just recently got involved with is a place called International Sanctuary. And they actually help women who are coming out of that, and they give them a job making jewelry. And then sell it online. Check out International Sanctuary. They have fantastic jewelry. I think it's just awesome. And then the other organization is the orphanage we work with, called International Network of Hearts. And the woman who runs that just recently has gone on a big tour. She went and talked to the president. She went and talked to the Pope. She went all through Europe, and sort of raising awareness for what they do. And they're both just phenomenal organizations. And so we get to partner with them, both teaching dance and guitar, but also,
just helping out where we can. Because we really believe in what they do, as well as it's fun. They have good kids, and to watch a kid go from being completely broken and have no hope and no future, and coming from this horrible situation to watching them excited about life and ready to go do things and be successful somewhere, and it's a total joy.
Was there something else you wanted to talk about, or was it that?
That was it. Because it's something we're really passionate about, and we like to raise awareness.
Do you have any resource websites that if someone's more interested, or maybe the International Sanctuary, they probably have information about just trafficking in and of itself? Yeah.
On our website, we have a page that lists out all the ministries we work with. And I know that we just started working with we start working with International Sanctuary in August. But the International Network of Hearts, their website is listed on our website. And so you can go and you can click on that, and they'll have some information on there. But if you it's out there, if you just do a Google search for, human trafficking statistics or human trafficking in Tijuana, you're going to find a lot of information. And but not a lot of people helping.
Yeah, it's
So-
something that needs both a lot of prayer, because it's an area, if you have crime that runs an area, it's really hard to get in there, because it's in the States, that might be something that our government works so proficiently that they're able to keep under control, but it's not like that everywhere else around the world. But definitely in Tijuana, it's a large issue, but it's not one with a lot of help yet.
Sure.
And also, it's something that we realize there's not, even if everybody was rescued out of those situations, there's really not a whole lot of places to take those people. So it's something that needs more NGOs to be a part of helping. We were part of a conference for a short time in Chula Vista, and that's what the conference said. They said everyone was so thankful for the NGOs that were there, because they can do so much that the government organizations can't. And Baja is definitely a place that needs those that kind of infrastructure.
Right. We have just like a minute left. Is there anything else you want to mention? morningbymorningministries.com.
Yep.
Very nice job on the website.
Oh,
I see it's been updated. I like it.
Yes.
I haven't visited it in a while.
That's
updating.
all thanks to Rachel.
You can also, can you get on your mailing list through that? Because you send out monthly-ish newsletters. I know doing a monthly newsletter, sometimes it's hard.
I'm pretty good about doing it monthly. Sometimes I'm a week late, but I do send out 12 newsletters a year, and we're very honest about what goes on, the good and the bad, and what we've been doing that month, and prayers and praises, and lots of pictures and stuff like that. Of course, like the human trafficking home, we can't show their faces and things, but we do. Everybody that reads them says they really like them and that they're fun. So you can go on our website and send us an email there, or just morningbymorningministries@gmail, and send us an email, and we can
add you to the list. Yeah. You can also find donation links and fun pictures and your links to all the different organizations that you work with and things like that. Hey, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
It was fun visiting with you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tomorrow I will have Adventist Health here. Don't forget senior meals, noon every weekday at the Kayawanda Community Center in Pacific City, the Tillamook Senior Center at 4th and Stillwell, as well as Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Nehalem Bay Methodist Church. Cost is $3 for seniors and $6.75 for everyone else. Don't forget that Wednesdays and Thursdays during the summer, there's community runs at Tillamook High School from 4 to 5:30, hosted by the Ultimac Community Club. It's a community running club for adults of all ages and abilities who enjoy the sport of running. Tomorrow is another Shop the Dock in Garibaldi. Tours start at 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Meet on the street level docks and the walkway next to the Spot at 304 Mooring Basin Drive. The tours are free. However, advanced registration is required and space is limited. Please wear comfortable walking shoes and arrive 15 minutes early. I'm not going to read you the website because it's really long, but just Google Shop the Dock Garibaldi and it'll pop up there. Or you could probably call the port, too, now that I think about that. Farmers Markets. Manzanita's Farmers Market is tomorrow from 5 to 8 on Lanita Avenue. Nesquin Farmers Market is Saturdays from 9 to 1 at the Nesquin Wayside. Tillamook Farmers Market is Saturday from 9 to 2 between the courthouse and City Hall. And Pacific City's Farmers Market is Sunday from 10 to 2 at the Pacific City Library. I also wanted to mention that you guys are at Blaine Church this Saturday at 10 o'clock.
Sunday, 10 o'clock at Blaine Community Church.
Yep. That's up Blaine and out in Beaver.
Yeah.
Thanks again for coming in this morning.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. And thank you, Tillamook, for listening.